go get the rest of the popcorn.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video as we go through some of the craziest NBA curses of all time. Now, don't worry, I'm not about to go on and on about the wildly famous 2K curse. You guys are probably sick and tired of hearing about that. So let's jump straight to the Dwayne Wade jersey swap. During the entire 18-19 NBA season, D-Wade had a blast experiencing his farewell tour, and before he left each game, many players were lining up for the opportunity to swap jerseys with him. And by the end of the season, he had himself a massive collection of his opponent's jerseys. But by the time summer came around, that collection began to look a little outdated due to one of the wildest off seasons ever, as several players found themselves a new home. People started to realize that the majority of them swapped jerseys with Wade during the season. And it's been said that at least 18 of those players changed teams in the offseason. Yeah, it looks like D-Wade might be a walking curse, and even he himself took the time to acknowledge this phenomenon. Now, there is one cover curse that I will talk about, which is the Sports Illustrated edition. It's basically a jinx, where if a team or individual is featured on the front of the magazine, then they will subsequently experience some very bad luck. This curse attacks all sports, but in this video, we're just gonna focus on the basketball incidences and name them off pretty quickly. In 1989, the LA Lakers swept the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals to advance to the NBA Finals, and that week's cover was all about it. The word sweep was clear as day, but in the very next championship round, they were the ones swept by the Pistons, mainly due to unfortunate injuries. Deron Williams featured on the cover of a 2012 issue, but soon after, he would suffer an injury. Mike Conley Jr. appearing on one in 2013, but would then be swept by San Antonio in the conference finals. Kevin Durant would soon appear on the cover right after Conley, but in OKC's very next game, Russell Westbrook would tear his meniscus, which was basically the end of their season. 2016, KD was on this one, which was when they had a 3-1 lead over the Warriors, but of course, we all know how that ended. 2019, KD and Steph shared the spotlight on this cover, but would result in Durant suffering multiple injuries in the playoffs. Shaquille O'Neal featured on the cover right before the 2001 NBA Finals. They were undefeated to that point in the playoffs, but just 2 days later, the Sixers defeated them in Game 1. Larry Bird was another player who happened to be a victim multiple times. Bird made the cover in 1979, but would go on to lose to Magic Johnson in the NCAA Final. Soon after appearing on one in 1983, the Celtics were swept by the Milwaukee Bucks. And then in 1997, this one was when he became the Pacers' new head coach, but they would end up having a terrible start to the season. In 1993, the New York Knicks were eliminated from the playoffs immediately after Patrick Ewing appeared on the cover. Okay, sure, obviously there are a few exceptions. For example, Michael Jordan appeared on the cover over 50 times, and his career obviously turned out fantastic. However, it looks like it might have got him one time when his wife filed for divorce around the same time this 2002 edition hit the shelves. Spooky stuff. If your team were to make it to the NBA Finals, then you better pray that Stephen A. Smith doesn't pick your team to win at all. His predictions always backfires, and for quite some time, Drake has also seemed to bring bad luck to whoever he's supporting. If you didn't know already, whenever Drake either wears somebody's jersey, takes a picture with somebody, or just cheers for that particular person or team, it always tends to lead to misfortune. he's been blamed for losses involving Anthony Joshua, Serena Williams, and Conor McGregor. And it got so out of hand that even several sports teams went out of their way to ban their players from ever taking pictures with him, except for obviously the Toronto Raptors. He's been a global ambassador for them since 2013, and even though they've choked multiple times in the playoffs ever since, they still love their guy. He has attempted to reverse the curse by taking aim at the opponents, like when he wore this Home Alone hoodie that clearly was meant for Kevin Durant. Also, when he wore a Dale Curry jersey right in front of Steph. And let's not forget about the time when he purposely did not attend Game 7 versus Philadelphia and just stayed home while hilariously wearing a pair of Sixers shorts in order to avoid getting blamed if they lose. And it seemed to actually work. And when the Raptors eventually won the title, social media celebrated as the Drake curse was finally broken. But little did they know, all it did was keep another curse alive. You see, whenever a major sports team in Toronto happens to win the championship, the following year is hit with an unexpected roadblock. It all started when the Toronto Arenas won the Stanley Cup in the year 1918, but in 1919, the cup wasn't able to be awarded due to the Spanish flu outbreak. In 1993, the Toronto Blue Jays won the World Series, but the 1994 World Series could not be played because of a players' strike. And as we all know, the Raptors won the 2019 championship. And now, this season has been postponed for the past few months. Let's just hope the city of Toronto doesn't see much success in the sports world anytime soon, for our own good. Moving on to another rapper, Lil B, aka the Based God, has a huge following on social media, and with him being from the Bay Area, he's always been a big fan of the Golden State Warriors. In fact, he once tried out for their D-League team back in 2012, and is also known for apparently putting curses on NBA players. For instance, back in 2011, Kevin Durant took the time to hop on Twitter and basically said that Lil B does not make good music, and that angered Lil B so much that he came out and challenged KD to a one-on-one game, but Durant just ignored his challenge. So that led to the rapper placing a curse on KD. And some say that the curse had something to do with the 3-1 lead he blew versus Golden State. But once Kevin joined the Warriors soon after, only then did the base god finally lift the curse. James Harden is another player who couldn't quite stay on the rapper's good side. We all have seen this celebration that Harden does after cooking his defender, but Lil B claims that he was the one who initially invented it back in 2010, and that Harden stole it from him. And just like KD, James Harden ignored the base god when he reached out to him, which once again resulted in a curse being placed on Harden. And around that time, James did not make any of the 2015-16 All-NBA teams, and has always been coming up short in the postseason. Kenyon Martin was also temporarily cursed due to Lil B not liking his comments that he directed towards Jeremy Lin's dreadlocks, but once Martin apologized to Lin, the curse was lifted. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with these horrific occurrences. Now look closely and tell me the similarity between all three of them. If you haven't figured it out by now, let me just show you. That's right, Derrick Rose was strangely involved in all three of the most gruesome injuries in recent memory. So not only has D-Rose himself been no stranger to injuries, but from now on, you might want to check if he's present on the court first before entering the game, just for your own personal safety. Alright guys, I know there are some others that could have easily been in this, like the Blazers big man curse and the Kardashian curse, but that's where I'm gonna end the video. Make sure to comment down below if you enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.